Hi guys, how are you today? Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a great new year. Today we're going to be doing a makeup look tutorial on the products that I have been loving that I used for the most part of 2023, and as I apply them I will talk a little bit about them. I tried to get like my favorite from each category, but there are some where I couldn't narrow it down to just one product. Because there were some differences. For example, like my favorite foundation. Well, I have 3 different ones, but each one serves a different purpose, and you'll see what I mean as I go through the products. So let's get started. We're gonna go just in order of applications. So for primers, I have 2. One for glow, so like a skin enhancer type glow, and then one for pore filling, because my routine is always I apply the glowy primer all over, and then I'll go in the areas where I have the enlarged pores and I'll fill those in. So my favorite primer for glowy is the one from Saie, the original shade. I'll put the names on the screen. So that one will be for glow, and my favorite for blurring is this one from Caliray called Sublime. Fabulous. This is like my 3rd one already, and I have a backup prepared already. If you know me, you know that I always have backups, and I've gone through like 3 of these little guys. I don't know why I don't just buy the full size. I think I've gotten it in gratis from Sephora. That's why, because in case you don't know me, I'm a beauty advisor at Sephora here in New Jersey. I am not a makeup artist, but I've been working there for 2 years, and even before I started working there, I was already obsessed with makeup and skincare. So it's been, you know, I've learned a lot more, because now I get to get education on new products that launch and things like that. But I also get a ton of free products to try, so I have more to share with you guys as I try new products. Now that the glow is on, as you can see, that gives like a beautiful, beautiful glow. Now I go in with my Caliray, and like I said, I just apply this not all over the face. I never do that with blurring primers, because for the most part, blurring primers can be, I don't want to say drying, but their goal is to sort of kind of soak up excess oils, and that's what kind of causes that blurring effect. So because I have dry skin, I'm very careful with how I apply them. I usually apply some here as well, because it helps with the kind of these deep lines that I have. I feel like it helps, not much, but I feel like it helps diminish the look of them. And I always apply a little bit here because I have a little bit of pores showing through there as well. The next category is foundations. Now I have 3 different favorite foundations. The top 3, the first one from Haus Labs, the Triclone. This one actually won Best Foundation in Allure 2023. At least it was one of the ones that won for Best Foundation. Then Nars Light Reflecting is my second choice. Love this one as well. And then Giorgio Armani is like an honorable mention, because these 2 I find are great for like natural light coverage, medium coverage. It's something you can wear every day without feeling like it's too much. Just totally natural, great for all skin types, I think, because they're not overly dewy. This one is in a category, for me, it's in a category by itself, because it has this beautiful like satin finish. And even though it's medium coverage, so just like the others claim to be, I feel like this one gives me that little extra coverage that makes my face look more, more glam, more put together. So I use this one like on special occasions, like if I'm going out, which I never do, but in the event that I really wanted to put together, like really doing a glam look, this is the one that I'll go for. But these 2 are beautiful, just lovely. If you have dry, mature skin, I recommend either of those. You can't go wrong with either one. And this one won Best Foundation, I think, last year. So the way I like to apply it, if they're a little bit liquidy foundations, I like to apply it with a brush first and then kind of dab it in with a beauty blender to kind of soak up any excess. So we're just going to use Nars today. I think this shade might be a little bit dark for me right now. I'm not sure. What I do is I put some in the back of my hand, and then I'll go in with my brush. This is from It Cosmetics, my favorite brush right now. Oh, actually, this one's very wet. Ooh, I just cleaned them. So I'm gonna just grab a beauty blender, a sponge. Here we go. So I just take some from there. And this foundation, I'm sorry, this sponge is from Morphe. I don't even know if they are around anymore, but it's a nice sponge. And what I do is once I get all the water out of it, I wrap it around a tissue to remove any excess water, so that way it won't soak up my foundation. If it's too wet, it's gonna remove too much foundation. So this one seems like a nice color. When it comes to foundation, I always go light-handed. I've always said this. The older you get, the less makeup you should apply. At least that's my recommendation, because full coverage foundation, full makeup, like with too much eyeshadow, all of that is just gonna make you look older. So the older you get, less foundation, more skincare. I always tell my clients at Sephora the same thing. If you have mature skin, I recommend you make the investment on skincare more so than makeup. I feel like this light is washing me out. I'm not sure if it's coming through on camera. So you see how little I apply? Just like, that was like 2 pumps, and I just, you know, make it work with that amount. Okay, next category is concealers. My first one is the Shiseido, this one here, and the next one from Huda Beauty, the Fauxfilter concealer. This one has medium coverage and this one has full coverage. And even though it has the word matte in the name, this is the only full coverage concealer that has ever worked for me. That doesn't dry out my skin, that provides that full coverage without it making it look cakey. It's just a beautiful product, and I recommend this one to pretty much anyone that walks into the store that is looking for a concealer. But if I had to choose between the two, my number one would be this one. The only thing is that the shade I have for this one is a little bit dark. So I'm just gonna show you today. I'll just apply both so you can see the difference. Yeah, that color actually is not too off, because the foundation that I put on is a little bit darker than the one I typically use, even though on screen it looks a little bit washed out. It's not too bad, but typically what I do is go in then with the one from Huda Beauty. Because it's a little bit lighter, I just kind of put a dot, and then I'll put some here to bring out those dents, to make them a little bit less noticeable. Or the idea is the light colors move forward. So with that, my goal is to kind of, again, make those nasolabial folds a little bit less noticeable. So then I just go in, tap. By the way, I just bought the most amazing concealer brush, but unfortunately it's also wet. I washed it. But if you're looking for a good concealer brush, this one from Haus is phenomenal. Beautiful. And it's also not too expensive. That's what I love about her brand. She keeps her products not only very reasonably priced, but the quality is there, and the packaging is like really luxurious, and I can, you know, really appreciate that. Like Haus has been like my #1 brand for a while now, because every single product that I've tried from them, you know, pretty much every single product I've loved. And if I don't mention some of them on here is because, you know, I have a ton of makeup, so I had to narrow it down somehow. So, but I just wanted to mention that if you're looking for good quality products, and also her products, her foundations, concealers, they all include skincare ingredients, skincare loving ingredients. So that's also something to keep in mind, which is also why I love the brand so much. In the powder category, I have three, and three for very specific reasons. One for the eyes, one a loose setting powder to set, and then a finishing powder. So for the under eye powder is this one from Pat McGrath. It's called like Sublime Perfection. They only offer like 4 different shades on this one. So hopefully if you wanted to try it out, you find a color that works for you. The loose setting powder that I love, and it's still like one of my favorites, is this one from Catrice. However, I don't know that this is available at Ulta anymore. It was never available at Sephora because it's a drugstore brand. But I believe now you can only get it through like their website or Amazon or something like that. But this one, beautiful loose setting powder that you can use to set under the eyes as well. Some days I'll just use this one for under the eyes. So I'll use it today to set in those places where I applied some concealer to prevent like any creasing under the eyes. All right, and see how that gives that blurred effect. I hope you can pick it up on camera. The finishing powder is the one from Charlotte Tilbury. I'm almost done with this one. And yes, I have a backup prepared. This one is good for overall setting of the face. So this one you can use with a big fluffy brush. Some days I don't set if I'm using just powder, like, or if I'm feeling extra dry. Even though I don't find that this powder dries your face whatsoever. It's a beautiful, like, thin formula that doesn't make you look like dry or too powdery. It's really, really nice. This has been one of my favorites for a while now, for a couple of years. So that was the powders. So for brows, again, I have different products because I typically end up using 3 different things for my brows. Like one for definition to draw the strokes. Then you also need like a gel to set it. So anyway, for pencil, as far as pencils go, it's this one from Benefit. It's the kind of like old school, the type that you sharpen. This one I find like you get like a lot of product deposited a lot quicker than the other ones, the ones that are like the Brow Wiz or things like that. I find that you get it done faster. Sometimes to create like a really thin line, I struggle doing that with this type of pencil, so I've been using and loving this one from NYX. And it's like a liquid formula, so you shake it, and I'm able to get like a really thin defined end because I struggle with growing hair at the ends of my brows. So I find that I can get that in with this one. And then of course at the end to set it with a brow gel, and this is the one from Kosas. So let's just speed through this. This is just then to make sure they stay in place. Brows don't have to be perfect, but I kind of like that not perfect, you know, perfectly shaped. Anyway, I'm rambling on. I'm gonna do this one off camera and I'll be right back. This brow gel is so good. It keeps them in place. I mean, once you set it, they're not gonna budge. So those are my brow products. Okay, moving on to bronzers. We're gonna do cream bronzers first. My favorite is the one from Rare Beauty, this stick bronzer. And I have compared it to, I have this one from Saie. That's what that one looks like. I also have the one from Makeup by Mario, the stick bronzer. That looks like this. So it's not like I haven't tried other cream bronzers, but this one still remains to be my number one. And a close second is this one from Fenty, their cream bronzer, which the shade I have is that one. It's called Honey Glaze is the shade that I have. So this would be my number one, and Fenty would be my number two. These other two, unfortunately, there's something about them. This color, for some reason, this one makes me look muddy, and this formula, I wanted to love it. I really did, but for some reason, it's just like not, it doesn't blend as easily, or it's not as creamy as I would want it to be. Whereas this one, I feel like I just put it in and it literally blends itself. I just kind of have to tap the brush, you'll see, and it kind of just blends and disperses so easily and so beautifully. So let's go ahead and apply that one. Even though I put some powder on, I didn't put a whole lot, so we're gonna go ahead and do cream. So I could show you my favorite ones. Another thing that I love about this one is the undertone. I find that because I have hyperpigmentation, anything that is cool tone will make me look super muddy. So that has a lot to do with my preference as well. The one from Fenty has a very similar undertone like this one, which for some people may be the very thing that they dislike, but in my case, that's what works. For my skin tone anyway. I have very golden skin, so for me that's what works. See how easily that blended? So I usually just do a stripe and then tap, tap, tap. And then whatever's left, I bring it up here and a little bit down the side. As far as powder bronzer, my favorite is still the one from Charlotte Tilbury. This one here. It is just beautiful. I have the shade medium. The only thing is I wish that they would come out with a smaller version of this. I have clients come in all the time, and of course when they are looking for a powder bronzer, this is the one I recommend, but it's hard to commit to something this big, and you know, obviously it costs more. Whereas, especially now when pretty much every product has a mini version out there now, and so hopefully Charlotte Tilbury will come out, if not a mini one, but at least a size that's, you know, that size. I'm gonna go and put some over that cream bronzer and set it just to show you. Typically, I'll just use one or the other. I don't necessarily use both, but today, because I want to show you the products in action, I'm gonna just do both. And I've had this for years and I still have not made a dent on it. So yeah. If you're looking for something and for a way for your makeup to last all day, this is a good way to go about it. Just apply your cream first, then set it with that same product in a powder version. See, and now I bring a little bit across the nose, sort of to bring everything together. Boom, 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 and voila. Okay, and for blush, I have two favorite ones. Again, a cream and then a powder. This one is from Danessa Myricks. This is my favorite one of all time right now. This is actually like a cream to powder formula. Even though we have powder, that's what I love about this formula. You can still go over it with cream. It won't disturb anything. It won't remove like your base. I usually use this with this brush from Sephora. I love it for this. Number 47, this brush, because it's got like a flat side to it. It's perfect for, so I pick some up like that. I find that it's perfect for applying cream products. So I go in and just tap the top of the cheekbones. And I don't swipe, I just tap back and forth until I get the blend that I'm looking for. And if it looks muddy here, that's just my hyperpigmentation. So that's why I have to be so careful with the products that I use. Draw a little bit across the nose whatever's left on the brush. I typically just a little bit of all over the place so it kind of blends together. I then go in at this point with my dry blender and just tap over everything. And what this does, it makes sure it removes whatever is excess, and it just helps blend everything together. And because the sponge is still like a little bit of smidge dump, it's a smidge damp still, it helps kind of to push the product in. And my favorite powder blush, I almost forgot to mention it, is this one from Laura Geller. This is a baked blush, which those tend to be less powdery. The formula is a lot more, it's really flattering on the skin, and you don't have all that like kickback. You don't have all that powder just flowing everywhere. This is what it looks like. It's gorgeous. It's a beautiful pink, like mixed in with, it reminds me of the Luminoso of the Milani blush, the big blushes. It reminds me of that. All right, so I put a little bit on the brush, remove the excess, and then I'm going around and just basically setting it. Setting my cream blush with this one. Okay, for liners, I think some of you will probably know which one I'm going to mention. It is the one from Makeup by Mario, and mine is embarrassing because it is broken. I'm almost down to the last bit of it. The brush has been destroyed. But it is the shade the Perfect Brown. So this is the one, as you can see, that I love the most, that I use every day. But recently, a couple of months ago, I realized that this one from Essence is just as good, and it's also, it stays on like 24 hours or whatever it claims on here, but it really does. It doesn't smudge or transfer. So if you're looking for an affordable option, try this one from Essence. And of course, the one from Haus Lab, which I've mentioned before, it has also a brush on one end, and then you've got the sharpenable edge on the other side. I love their formula, but the color that I picked I don't love, but they do have a dark brown one that I love. I just have to pick it up. I ended up grabbing the wrong one. This one is like a light brown, so it's not my favorite, but as far as formula, I do recommend this one. But as of right now, this is my number one from Makeup by Mario. So I'm just gonna tight line, as I always do. I tight line the upper part, and then I just do a little bit in the bottom. Okay, so moving on to eyes. I have moved away from using eyeshadow palettes, even though I have a huge collection. But if I were to say, if I had to pick only one, it would be this one from Too Faced, the Born This Way, the Natural Nudes. The reason being that you have all these beautiful colors where you can go from daytime and move all the way across to evening time. And each quad is like one look. Like they group it together for you so you can kind of work with those four. Like these four here is one, these four here is one look, and then these four here is another look. And then you have whites at the end, a matte and a shimmer. This is the fourth look over here. But anyway, I like the way that it's organized, so it's beginner user friendly, and you can create daytime looks, you can create smoky looks with this all in one palette. So if I were to go with one and recommend, and it's still being sold at Sephora, it would be this one. Typically what I do on a daily basis is I take one of these colors, or even my bronzer, any of these matte colors that's like my skin tone or a little bit darker, I throw it on the crease, and then I go in with a shimmer or a glitter on the lid. And the one that I have been using nonstop for the last over 1 year, well, for the last year, is this one from Urban Decay, their Moon Dust collection, and the shade is Space Cowboy, which I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with. It's like light shimmer, glitter, sparkly. Where is it? There it is. But not glitter, but not thick shimmer where it's overpowering your eye. That's what I love about it. It's very sheer, very natural. I also, this one is another one that I use. This is meant to be like a face highlighter, but I don't use it as that. And this one, again, I just put it on my lid just to get some shimmer, some glitter, and it's very similar to this one. I use both, I just keep alternating every single day. That's what I go for, quick and easy. Gone are the days where I would spend, you know, where I would use 5 different eyeshadow colors and create this really fancy look. I've become very, very practical with maybe because I work at Sephora and I just really, you know, I don't have time to really get that creative. I would have to spend like a lot of time getting a look together. So I just keep it very simple. Something on the crease, something on the lid, liner, mascara, and I'm done. I'm gonna pick up this color here and just, no, maybe I'll go with this one that's a little bit darker and throw that on the crease. And because I have like hooded eyes, I make sure that I put it kind of high up so that when I open my eyes, you can still see it. So I really want to make sure that I can even, sometimes I apply it just with my eye open like this. And then when I get to the corner, I just kind of go up and down to kind of create or attempt to create that lifting effect. And I do swiper motions, but then I also do circle motions to soften it up as I go. Then I pick up some more. Remember to tap off the excess. And then I just deposit that up and down. Make sure it's nice and blended. At this point, if you wanted to create like an evening look, then you can go in with like this one here and darken the corners a little bit, and that would just give it more dimension. Sometimes I'll use this little shimmer here in the corner, which is really, really pretty as well. I can go in with my finger and just like tap it, go like that, and then just go on my lid with my finger and dab it. I don't swipe because then it ends up depositing like too much, and I just want to apply as little as possible so that it looks natural. Then I go in with my other finger and do the same thing. Sometimes using your fingers for application is the best way to go. Sometimes I'll go in with this lighter matte and take that and just put it in the brow bone. I don't like to have glitter on my brow bone, but I like to sometimes put something white because that gives it sort of like cleaner. It makes it look cleaner, and it helps it also lift the brow bone. Sometimes I'll apply a little bit at the top as well, just to make it look a little bit more seamless. I can go in with this same little brush and apply some in the inner corner. At this point is when I would go in and spray and set everything in place before I move on to curling my lashes. And the 2 favorite setting sprays that I love and obsess about for longevity, so to set my makeup, it would be this one from Charlotte Tilbury. But if I'm feeling that my skin is super dry and I need a little extra love, I'll go in with this one from Catrice. This has a beautiful smell. It's from a skincare company, so you know you're spraying goodness onto your skin. Some people don't love the smell. Like my daughter doesn't like the smell, but I just love it. They actually both smell really nice. So I'm gonna spray this one since I kind of used powders today more than I typically do. I'll set it with that one. Oh, it smells heavenly. At this point, before it completely has a chance to completely dry, I'll go in and curl my lashes so that the wetness, the dampness in them will help them curl and hopefully hold the curl a little bit longer. Alright, so moving on to mascaras. I have 3, and I'm sorry, but there's a reason for that. In the clean, first of all, I can only use tubing mascara, and if you don't know what tubing mascara is, it's a formula that what it does is it basically wraps around each individual lash, and so it acts almost like a waterproof formula in the sense that it won't smudge or transfer, but it's not a waterproof. It's not going to be one of those that's impossible to remove. The way this works is once you wet it with damp water, they kind of slip off. So your sink is going to look like you're losing your lashes, but it's just the product coming off. So in case you're not familiar with them. So I only use tubing mascaras because everything else, as much as I love some other mascaras, I can't use them because they transfer. I end up with little dots under here. So anyway, my number 1 clean mascara is this one from Caliray. Beautiful product. It is called Come Hell or High Water, something like that. Then my favorite volumizing one is this one from Blink. It's called Ultra Volume Tubing Mascara from Blink. And just a general overall good tubing mascara is this one from Tarte. Beautiful. This one gives me length and lifting. This one I love because it gives me a ton of volume. And then this one gives me actually a little bit of both, and it's a clean option. So for those of you that just want to use clean products, this would be the one I would recommend the most. So for today, I'm going to go ahead and use the one from Caliray. This is a mini one. But even with this, even just with one coat, you can see what a difference it makes with one coat, right? So I'll go in, because this one is almost done. It's kind of dry, so then I do my 2 coats right away, back to back. If it was a brand new one and it was really wet, I would do one side, go to the other side, and then get back to it. But because this one's pretty dry, I don't want to give it too much time, because then it'll dry out too much. So this is what I do. I typically have this one is a little longer than this one, like my lashes. So what I'll do is I'll go just on the tip, focus on the tip, and go up, up, up to create that extra length so that it matches the other one. That's kind of like a way I balance things out. I have to do the same thing with my lip. I have this line that goes down more, and this one is higher, so I make it up by going with my liner. I go a little bit lower than on this side to make them even. You know, over time you kind of learn these things about your face as you do makeup more and more. You start to notice these things and then find a way around it, you know, with makeup. So for lip liners, I have 2 favorite ones, and one is like a brown and then a pinky nude. So my favorite for a brown category would be the one from Makeup by Mario in the shade Travis, which from what I understand has been sold out everywhere. I bought this one when it first launched, so before it became popular on TikTok or whatever. And then from Urban Decay, if I'm looking for a pinky nude, this is the shade called Liar. I'll show you the difference. So that's the difference. The dark one is the Makeup by Mario, and the lighter one is Urban Decay. So I'm gonna just use Liar, but actually before we go into that, let me mention my favorite lip masks. For the daytime, my favorite one is this one from Lawless. They have different flavors. This was the cherry vanilla, but now they have I don't know, I think they have 2 other flavors, but anyway, this one's my favorite because it's hydrating and it makes your lips feel really, really comfortable. It has like a minty, slightly minty feeling to it, but I feel like it's not thick enough for when my lips, like in the winter months, when my lips are in really bad shape. I feel like when this product is good for K-Skin. It is a sleeping mask, and this one, I finished it up. As you can see, I'm already working on my second one. This one is so rich and thick. I mean, these are both called, I think, sleeping masks, but I don't consider this one thick enough or heavy enough to do what I need to do at night. This one, on the other hand, is the one that I recommend to my clients that come in with lips that are really, really dry and chapped and whatever. This thing will heal it overnight. So those are my two favorite, and I've already applied some of the Lawless one, so I won't reapply. So I'm just gonna go in with the Urban Decay liner. That's the area where I have to overdraw to compensate for my line being higher. For lip products, I don't typically wear any lipstick nowadays anymore. I typically just go in with like a light, either like a lip gloss or just like some type of balm with color or a tint. The ones I have been obsessed with, along with everybody else, I think, this year, has been the ones from Tarte, the Maracuja, what are they called? Whatever they're called, they're up there. I have a ton of them. So typically what I do is just line and then I go in with one of them. They're hydrating. They feel like plumping, but not in a way where it's gonna be burning your lips, and not that type of plumping, just a mild, like Lawless, just a mild minty. And it just feels so good on the lips, but it also gives you this beautiful glow, and that makes your lips look bigger. It makes them look plumper. I'm obsessed with these. So guys, did I leave anything out? Oh, yes, one other thing that I've been obsessed with, lip oil. As far as lip oils, this is the one that I recommend and love. They have a pink, a purplish, and a peachy one. These actually, when you put them on, they go on very sheer, but the more you apply, the more your lips will start to get a hint of that color. So they are oil slash stain, but just very mildly. It's nothing that's gonna happen that it's gonna be very obvious right away. They're super comfortable, they're hydrating, and it's an oil. They remind me very much of the Dior lip oils, except I like these better, and they are like half the price. So highly recommend those. And I actually can apply a little bit of this one over it to make it even more glowy. The applicator is also like super bouncy and like soft and cushiony on the lips. I don't know, I just love it. All right, I think that is it, guys. I hope you enjoyed watching today's video. Please share with me down below what you liked, if anything at all. What was your favorite part? Do you share my same taste, or if you don't, which are your favorite products? I would love to hear from you guys. I love getting recommendations from other people on, you know, different products that I can try out, and not just high-end products, but there's a ton of also drugstore products that are amazing, that are good quality. So I would love to hear from you guys. Please subscribe if you haven't already, share the video with friends, and of course, if you want to support the channel, give it a thumbs up. That is always helpful, as well as your engagement. So thank you so much for spending some time with me today, and I hope to see you on the next one. Take care. Bye.